On the island of Sodor, big changes were occurring. A new extension had just been built off of the main line. Sir Topham Hatt wanted to use it as a way of taking advantage of the extra passenger traffic during the summer. It will greatly streamline the passenger services and provide new opportunities for the railway. Now that work on the extension was nearly completed, Sir Topham Hatt needed to trial an engine to run the new passenger service. The first engine to be trialed was Thomas. Thomas hadn't worked on the main line since Gordon, James, and Henry went on strike many years ago. While he was away, Percy took care of Annie and Clarabelle. It was a nice change from pulling freight cars. Thomas was soon put to work heading the new service. He quickly remembered how much he enjoyed the attention and responsibility, and I'm sorry to say this went to his smoke box. One day, when Percy arrived at the junction, Thomas was already there. As the two engines waited for their passengers to exchange services, Thomas spoke up. "You know, Percy, I never realized how important mainline work is. Branch line trains are all very well and good, but not as important as mainline trains." Percy was confused. "I thought all of our work was important," he said. "After all, Sir Topham Hatt asked me to take care of your work here on the branch line because you were working on the main line." "He only sent you because he wanted you out of the way," Thomas retorted. "I was chosen to work here because he knows I'm a really useful engine. You aren't important enough to pull a train like this." Percy's boiler pressure suddenly shot up. "I'm just as important as you are!" Just then, the conductor blew the whistle. "Oh, sorry, Percy. Looks like I have to go. Mustn't be late with my important train." And Thomas set off, leaving Percy quite annoyed. Later, Percy had to stop to take on water. Edward was shunting some cars nearby. He noticed Percy was looking quite irritated. "Hello, Percy. You look upset. What's the matter?" "It's Thomas. He's always going on about how important his work is. He doesn't think I'm important enough to pull mainline trains." Edward sighed. Thomas is just getting a lot of praise for his work. He can be boastful at times, but he is still a good engine. "Don't worry, Percy. I'm sure you can prove him wrong." That made Percy feel a little better, but wasn't sure how. The next day, Percy hurried along the line. "If I get to the station before Thomas, then he'll see how useful I really am." But then there was trouble. Percy didn't see there was a log that had fallen close to the line. By the time he did, it was too late. "Ouch!" exclaimed Percy as he rolled to a stop. Thankfully, Percy remained on the rails, but his front end was still sore when he reached the junction. Thomas was there, waiting for him. "Oh dear, Percy, it looks like you can't be reliable after all. You're late, and now the passengers are cross. Don't worry, I'll make sure they get to their stations on time." And Thomas raced off, leaving Percy more annoyed than ever. Later, Thomas had reached the end of the line and was backing down on the coaches for the return train. He was still feeling quite proud of himself. "I'll show that Percy how useful I can be." But he was so distracted that he didn't notice how fast he was going. Thomas came into the station too quickly and gave the coaches a loud bump. "Whoa, easy there, Thomas," called the driver. "These coaches are old. We must be careful not to bump them." But Thomas took no notice. Soon the people got in, the conductor blew the whistle, and Thomas set off, before the coaches could be checked over. As the train rolled through the countryside, Thomas's driver began to hear a strange noise. "Careful, Thomas," he called. "I think something's wrong." But Thomas wasn't listening. He was too busy trying to top his own time. Then, they came to Gordon's Hill. Thomas tried to go faster, but the coaches felt like they were getting heavier. "I mustn't be late," he thought. I have to be on time. So Thomas puffed as hard as he could. His wheels began to slip. Steady, Thomas, called the driver, but it was no good. Thomas strained and strained. Suddenly, his wheels slipped fiercely, and then... he cried as he came to a grinding halt. Thomas had bumped into the coaches so hard he had loosened the brake pipes, causing their brakes to come on. And because his wheels had slipped so suddenly, he had broken one of his coupling rods. He wasn't going anywhere. Thomas's crew tended to the damage while the conductor telephoned ahead to the junction. Percy was shunting some freight cars when the station master came up. "Leave those cars, Percy," he said. "Thomas has broken down on Gordon's Hill, and I need you to go rescue him." Percy just rolled his eyes. "Thomas told me I wasn't useful enough. Let him stay there and think about what he's done." "But what about the passengers?" asked Percy's driver. "They don't deserve to be left stranded." "Oh dear, I forgot about them. We must go help at once." And Percy chuffed quickly away. Soon he arrived at Gordon's Hill. Thomas's crew had removed his broken coupling rod and the brake pipes had been mended. Percy was coupled in front, and slowly but surely, he got the train moving again. They coasted smoothly down the hill and arrived at the next station only a few minutes late. The passengers thanked Percy and hurried away. "Well done, Percy. A fine piece of work indeed." Percy was pleased. Then Sir Topham Hatt turned to Thomas. "As for you, Thomas, I'm very disappointed in you. You should know better than to bump coaches around. Now I must make other arrangements. Hopefully sometime at the works will remind you to be more sensible." Thomas felt very silly. Percy shunted him into a siding and then left with the coaches. Later, Edward arrived to take him to the works. When Thomas returned a few days later, he went to see Percy in the yard. "Hello, Thomas. Good to see you on the rails again." Thomas sighed. "Percy, I'm very sorry I teased you. I shouldn't have been so rude. I'm very grateful you rescued me and my train." Percy smiled. "That's all right, Thomas. We engines must pull together, whatever the weather." And together, the two friends went back to work.